The alarm screamed through the metal hallways of Earth's military training base. Cadet Park Juwoo's eyes snapped open, her body already moving before her mind fully woke up. Around her, other cadets scrambled from their beds, pulling on tight black uniforms with lightning speed. Something was different today. The air felt heavy with tension. Commander Roberts stood at the front of the massive briefing hall. His weathered face looked tired, but his eyes burned with an intensity that made every cadet sit up straight. Behind him, a huge holographic display showed a planet that looked like a nightmare. Keros 9. 6 months, the commander said, his voice cutting through the silent room. 6 months of total failure. 12 different alien armies. Hundreds of the best military units from across the galaxy. 0 success. The hologram shifted, showing battle scenes that made some cadets wince. Massive alien fortresses, impossible terrain. Defensive positions that seemed to defy all military logic. Smoking wreckage of countless failed attack attempts stretched across the planet's surface. Juwoo leaned forward. She had studied this planet more than anyone else. While other cadets spent their free time playing virtual games or relaxing, she had memorized every single report, every failed mission log, every tiny detail about the Keros 9 conflict. The corrections are not just another enemy, Commander Roberts continued. They represent the most advanced defensive technology in the known universe. Their fortress is a living machine. It adapts. It learns. It kills. Next to Juwoo, her teammate Kim Dong-yuk started running calculations on a small tablet. His fingers moved so fast, they almost blurred. Complex mathematical models appeared and disappeared, testing impossible scenarios. "We're selecting a special team," the commander said. 5 cadets. 1 mission. Complete the impossible. The room went completely silent. Juwoo knew why they would choose humans. Earth was called a death world by other species, a planet so harsh, so dangerous, that most alien life forms would die within minutes of landing. Humans had evolved to survive in extreme conditions. They didn't just adapt, they conquered. Her team was special. Each member brought something unique. Lee Sung-min could move like a ghost. His stealth training meant he could walk through enemy lines without making a sound. Fo Yuna understood alien biology better than most doctors. She could predict how different species would react in combat situations. Kang Jin-woo carried enough firepower to destroy small cities. His understanding of explosives and weapon systems was legendary among the cadets. And then there was Dong-yuk, the tactical genius who could predict enemy movements before they happened. "The mission is simple," Commander Roberts said, though nothing about this mission was simple. "Break the siege. Do what no one else could do. Prove that humans are more than just another species in the galaxy." Juwoo felt something burning inside her. This wasn't just a military mission. This was a chance to show the entire universe what humans could do. The hologram of Keros 9 continued to spin slowly, showing its brutal landscape, impossible mountains, deep valleys, fortress complexes that looked more like living creatures than buildings. Most would see hopelessness. Juwoo saw an opportunity. "We'll do it," she whispered to herself. "We'll break their siege." The universe was about to learn a lesson about human determination. The training room looked like something from a science fiction movie. Holographic screens covered every wall. Strange machines hung from the ceiling. The floor could change from desert to mountain to alien landscape in seconds. Juwoo watched her team train. Each of them moved like a different part of a perfect machine. Lee Sung-min disappeared first. One moment he was standing in the middle of the room. The next moment, nothing. The holographic sensors couldn't even track him. He was learning to become invisible, to move through enemy lines without making a single sound. Choi Yuna worked in the medical section. Her hands moved quickly over alien biological models. She was studying how different species react to injuries, to stress, to combat conditions. While other medical experts looked at basic information, Yuna dug deep. She wanted to understand how to keep her team alive in the most impossible situations. Kang Jinwoo tested weapons that looked more like science experiments than guns. Some could freeze targets. Others could melt through solid metal. He wasn't just learning how to use weapons. He was learning how to turn the entire environment into a weapon. Kim Dong-hyuk sat in a small room filled with computer screens. His fingers flew across multiple interfaces. He was running thousands of battle simulations every minute. Each simulation tested a different approach to the Keros 9 mission. Most would fail, but each failure taught them something important. Commander Roberts watched everything. He had selected this team carefully. These weren't just the best students. They represented something more, the future of human military strategy. Humans are different, he often told them. Other species follow rules. They have clear ways of thinking. We create our own rules. The team knew what he meant. Humans didn't just adapt to challenges. They transformed challenges into opportunities. Their first full team training simulation began. The room transformed into a perfect replica of Keros 9's terrain. Rocky mountains, deep valleys, alien fortress structures that looked more like living creatures than buildings. Mission start, a computer voice announced. Sungmin moved first. He became invisible, blending perfectly with the rocky terrain. His movements were slow, careful. Every step was calculated. Yuna monitored the team's biological signals. Her screen showed heart rates, stress levels, oxygen consumption. She could predict when someone would get tired before they even felt it. Jinwoo carried enough firepower to destroy a small city, but he knew this mission wasn't about destroying everything. It was about precision, about finding the exact weak points. Dong-hyuk's fingers never stopped moving. He was tracking every possible enemy movement, running calculations faster than any computer. He could see patterns that no one else could see. And Jiwoo? She watched everything. She was the brain of the team. Every movement, every decision passed through her first. Their first simulation lasted 6 hours. They failed, completely and totally failed. But failure was just another way of learning. Again, Jiwoo said simply. The room reset. The simulation began again. This time, they would do better. This time, they would find a way to break the impossible siege of Keros 9. The alien researchers had a problem. They couldn't understand humans. In the massive research center on Alpha Station, scientists from 100 different planets studied the strange species called humans. They looked at reports. They checked data. They tried to understand why humans were so different. Dr. Zara, a tall blue-skinned researcher from the Centauri system, pointed at a holographic display. Hundreds of charts and graphs showed human performance in impossible situations. Look at this, she told her team. Humans survive conditions that would kill any other species instantly. A hologram showed Earth, a planet that looked more like a death trap than a home. Massive storms, extreme temperatures, dangerous animals, volcanic regions, freezing polar zones, massive predators, poisonous plants, unpredictable weather. Most species would consider Earth impossible to survive. Humans called it home. Humans could live in deserts where temperatures reached 50 degrees Celsius. They could survive in Arctic zones where temperatures dropped to -40 degrees. They could climb the highest mountains. They could dive into the deepest oceans. They could fight massive animals with nothing but simple tools. Their planet is a training ground, one researcher said. Every human is born into a constant survival challenge. The Korexian military leaders had made a big mistake. They thought they understood human capabilities. They were wrong. Back on the training base, Jiwoo explained something important to her team. Other species see obstacles, she said. We see problems to solve. The team gathered around a large holographic map of Keros 9. The planet looked impossible. Massive rock formations, deep valleys, alien fortress structures that seemed to change shape. The Korexians believe in perfect systems, Dong-hyuk said. They build defenses that follow mathematical rules. And humans break rules. Some men added with a small smile. Their training had shown them something important. The Correxian defense system was perfect, but only if everything went exactly as expected. Humans were masters of the unexpected. Choi Yuna brought up medical data. Humans had something unique, an ability to push beyond normal limits. When other species would give up, humans found extra strength. When systems said something was impossible, humans found a way. Kang Jinwoo started showing weapon modifications. These weren't just standard military tools. These were creative solutions that broke all traditional combat rules. We don't just fight, Jinwoo explained. We solve problems. The team understood something the Corrections didn't. War wasn't just about weapons. It was about thinking differently, about seeing opportunities where others saw walls. Their first mission briefing was short. Break an unbreakable siege. Capture an impossible fortress. Do what hundreds of trained armies had failed to do. Most teams would be scared. This team was excited. The Corrections think we're just another species. Jinwoo said, looking at her team. We're going to show them what humans can really do. Outside the training room, the universe continued to spin. Millions of planets, thousands of species, but somewhere, a small team of human cadets was preparing to change everything. They were going to break the siege of Keros 9, and they were going to do it their way. The spaceship was quiet. Too quiet. Sungmin checked his equipment one last time. His camouflage suit could change colors faster than the human eye could follow. It could make him invisible against any background. But he knew technology was only part of the trick. Real invisibility was about movement, about thinking. Jinwoo sat at the control station. Her fingers moved across multiple screens, tracking everything. Donghyuk's complex calculations ran in the background, predicting potential enemy movements before they could happen. Their target was getting closer. Keros 9 looked like a nightmare from space. Massive rock formations created natural fortress walls. Dark storm clouds covered the planet's surface. Lightning crashed every few seconds. Perfect weather, Jinwoo said with a small smile. Most soldiers would be scared. He saw opportunity. The Correxian defense system was considered the best in the galaxy. Thousands of sensors covered every possible approach. Automated weapon systems could track and destroy anything that moved. Layers of energy shields protected the main fortress. No one had ever gotten close. We're not going to fight the system, Jinwoo explained to her team. We're going to make the system fight itself. Yuna monitored their biological signals. Each team member's body was prepared for extreme conditions. Increased oxygen processing, enhanced muscle response, quick healing capabilities. Humans were walking survival machines. The ship entered the planet's atmosphere. Most vessels would burn up. Their ship simply adjusted. Sungmin prepared for his first move. He would go first. Become the eyes of the team. Dropping in 3, the computer voice announced. The ship's side opened. Nothing but darkness and electrical storms waited outside. Sungmin jumped. No hesitation. No fear. Most species would need complex equipment to survive such a drop. Humans had something better. Training and willpower. He fell through the storm. His camouflage suit made him invisible. Lightning crashed around him. The suit absorbed the electrical energy, converting it into a tiny power boost. Donghyuk tracked his movement through multiple computer screens. Complicated mathematical models predicted every possible landing point, every potential risk. Target zone in 15 seconds, he said calmly. Sungmin didn't respond. He was already working. The Correxian sensors were perfect. They could detect the smallest movement, track the tiniest heat signature. But they had one big weakness. They followed strict mathematical rules. Humans didn't follow rules. As Sungmin fell, he did something unexpected. He changed his body's temperature, adjusted his fall angle, made tiny movements that looked random, but were actually perfectly calculated. The sensors saw nothing. He landed without a sound. Rocky terrain absorbed his impact. His suit instantly matched the ground's color and texture. Invisible, silent, ready. First stage complete, he whispered into his communication device. Back on the ship, Zhu allowed herself a small smile. The impossible mission had just begun. The siege of Karos 9 was about to change forever. The rocky ground looked empty, but it wasn't. Sungmin moved like a ghost. His camouflage suit made him invisible against the dark rocks. The first Coraxian sensor line was just ahead. Most teams would try to avoid the sensors. He was going to do something different. Dongyuk's voice came through his communication device. Sensor pattern detected. Timing is everything. The Coraxian sensor system was perfect, too perfect. It followed exact mathematical rules. Sensors scanned the area in a precise pattern. Every 3 seconds, a tiny gap appeared. Most would be too slow to use this gap. Humans were different. Sungmin moved. Not fast, not slow. Perfectly timed. He slipped through the sensor line without making a single sound. His body moved in a way that confused the sensors. Too random to be tracked, too precise to be a mistake. Behind him, a small device activated. Jinwoo's special creation. It sent out a signal that looked exactly like background noise. The sensors would see nothing unusual. First line breached, Sungmin whispered. Jinwoo watched from the ship. Her fingers moved across multiple screens. Each movement of her team was carefully tracked. Each potential risk calculated. Next stage, she said simply. Jinwoo prepared his first surprise. The Coraxians had built a massive defensive wall. Thick metal. Advanced energy shields. Sensors that could detect the smallest movement. They think defense is about stopping everything. Jinwoo said to himself. We're going to show them defense can be attacked. He pulled out a strange device. Not a weapon. Not a standard military tool. Something completely different. The device looked like a small ball, but it was much more. It could change its molecular structure. Become hard. Become soft. Break through solid metal. Or simply disappear. Dongyuk's calculations had found the perfect weak point. Most teams would need weeks to find such a spot. They had studied the Coraxian defense system for months. Every single report. Every failed mission log. Jinwoo's device hit the wall. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the wall started to change. Metal began to crack, not with explosion, not with force, but with a precise molecular breakdown. The device found the exact point where the wall was weakest. Breach point ready, Jinwoo reported. Yuna monitored the team's biological signals. Each member's body was prepared for extreme conditions. Enhanced oxygen processing, quick muscle response, ability to heal faster than any other species. Sungmin moved first. He entered the small breach point. His camouflage suit adjusted instantly, matching the interior colors, the sounds, the temperature. The Coraxian defense system was perfect, but it had one big problem. It couldn't understand humans. Inside the fortress, alarms started to sound, but they were too late. The first breach was complete. The impossible mission had begun. Jinwoo allowed herself a small smile. Stage 1 complete, she said quietly. Now the real work starts. The inside of the fortress was not what anyone expected. Sungmin moved like water. No sound, no shadow, just movement. The central command area was supposed to be the most protected place in the entire Coraxian defense system. Layers of sensors, automatic weapons, energy shields that could stop anything. But they hadn't stopped humans. Dongyuk's voice came through the communication device. Multiple paths calculated. Probability of success, 78.3%. Most military teams would want 100% certainty. Humans worked differently. 78.3% was good enough. The Coraxian Central Command looked like a massive computer system. Walls of screens, complicated machines that moved and changed colors, alien technology that looked more like a living thing than a machine. Yuna monitored the team's biological signals. Each member's body was working perfectly. Enhanced oxygen flow, quick muscle response, ability to think and move faster than any other species. Jinwoo carried a special device, not a weapon, not a standard military tool, something completely new. They build defense systems that block everything. He had explained during training, "We're going to build a system that breaks from the inside." The device looked like a small metal ball, but it was much more. It could connect to any computer system, read information faster than any hacking tool, understand complex alien technology in seconds. Jinwoo watched from the ship. Her fingers moved across multiple screens, each team member's position tracked, each potential risk calculated. Remember, she had told them before the mission, "We're not just fighting, we're solving a problem." Seung-min reached the main computer control center. Most infiltration teams would try to destroy the system. He was going to do something different. His fingers moved across the alien control panel, not typing, not pushing buttons, but understanding, reading the system's language. The Coraxian defense system was perfect, but it had one big weakness. It couldn't adapt quickly. Dong-yuk's calculations showed exactly where to push, exactly how to move. The computer system started to change. Alarms began to sound, but they were too late. Jinwoo's special device connected to the main system. Information began to flow, not stolen, not broken, but understood. The Coraxian commanders watched in shock. Their perfect defense system was being taken apart, not with weapons, not with force, but with understanding. Yuna monitored everything. Her medical training helped her understand how the alien system worked, how it processed information, how it made decisions. "Systems changing," she reported calmly. Seung-min continued to move. No sound, no shadow, just pure human adaptability. The central command area began to change. Screens flickered. Machines moved in ways they were not supposed to move. The Coraxian defense was breaking, not from outside attack, but from within. Jinwoo allowed herself a small smile. "Stage 2 complete," she said quietly. The impossible mission was working. Humans were showing the universe something important. Rules were made to be understood, and then broken. Everything changed in one moment. The Coraxian defense system was supposed to be perfect. Thousands of sensors, millions of calculations per second, automatic weapons that could track the smallest movement, energy shields that could stop anything. But they had never fought humans before. Jinwoo watched from the ship's control center. Her fingers moved across multiple screens, each team member's position tracked, each potential risk calculated. "They think defense is about stopping everything," she had told her team during training. "We're going to show them defense can be attacked." Dong-yuk's calculations were working perfectly. He had found the exact weak points in the Coraxian system, not with brute force, not with standard military thinking, but with pure human creativity. Seung-min moved through the fortress like a ghost. His camouflage suit made him invisible, but invisibility was more than technology. It was about understanding, about thinking differently. Jinwoo prepared his special weapons. These were not standard military tools. These were solutions to problems that other species couldn't even see. Yuna monitored everything. Her medical training helped her understand how systems worked, how they made decisions, how they could be changed. The first sign of trouble came quickly. Coraxian sensors began to malfunction. Not all at once, not with a big explosion, but slowly, carefully, precision braking. Dong-yuk's device sent out signals that looked exactly like normal system data, but they were changing everything. Automated weapons began to turn, not against the human team, but against the Coraxian defense system itself. "Stage 3 beginning," Jinwoo said quietly. Most military teams would try to destroy everything. Humans were different. They wanted to understand, to solve the problem. The Coraxian Central Command began to panic. Their perfect defense system was breaking from the inside. Sungmin reached the main control room. Most infiltration teams would try to destroy the computers. He was going to do something different. His fingers moved across the alien control panel. Not typing, not pushing buttons, but understanding, reading the system's language. Energy shields began to fail, not with explosions, but with precise molecular changes. Jinwoo's special device connected to the main system. Information began to flow. Not stolen, not broken, but understood. The Correxian commanders watched in shock. Their perfect defense was being taken apart, not with weapons, not with force, but with pure human understanding. Yuna's medical sensors showed something interesting. The entire defense system was changing, adapting, becoming something new. They built a system that couldn't learn. Dong-hyuk said through the communication device, "We're teaching it how to change." The fortress began to transform. Walls shifted. Sensors changed. Automated systems began to work in ways they were never designed to work. Humans didn't just break rules. They rewrote them. Jiwoo allowed herself a small smile. "Stage 3 complete," she said quietly. The impossible mission was working. Humans were showing the universe something important. Sometimes the best way to solve a problem is to make the problem solve itself. The silence was loud. One moment, the Correxian fortress was the most powerful defense system in the galaxy. The next moment, it was nothing. Sungmin stood in the main control room. His camouflage suit slowly changed back to its original color. Around him, alien computer systems blinked and died. Not with explosions, not with fire, but with a strange, quiet surrender. Dong-hyuk's voice came through the communication device. "Mission complete. Calculations confirmed." Jinwoo looked around the massive fortress. Most soldiers would be excited. He was already thinking about the next problem to solve. Yuna checked her medical scanners. Every team member was perfect. No injuries, no stress, just pure human adaptability. The 6-month siege was over, in less than 6 hours. Jiwoo watched from the ship's control center. Her fingers moved across the screens, tracking, calculating, understanding. "They built a system that couldn't learn," she said quietly. "We showed them how to change." Outside, the planet of Keros 9 looked different. The massive fortress that had stopped hundreds of armies was now silent. No weapons fired. No energy shields blocked the way. The Correxian military leaders watched in shock from their remote stations. Their perfect defense system had been destroyed, not with massive weapons, not with huge battles, but with pure human creativity. Dong-hyuk's calculations had found every single weak point, not with brute force, but with understanding. Sungmin had moved through the fortress like a ghost, not destroying, but changing. Jinwoo's special devices had connected to the system, not breaking, but teaching. Yuna had understood how the alien technology worked, not as an enemy, but as a problem to solve. And Jiwoo had guided everything, not with military commands, but with pure human problem-solving. The first alien communication came quickly, not a message of defeat, but a message of confusion. "How?" the Correxian commander asked. Jiwoo's response was simple. "We don't follow rules. We solve problems." News spread quickly across the galaxy. A team of human cadets had done what hundreds of professional armies could not. They had broken the unbreakable siege. The military experts would study this mission for years. How did they do it? What special technology did they use? They would never understand. Humans didn't win with technology. They won with creativity, with the ability to see solutions where others saw walls. Back on the ship, the team didn't celebrate. They were already thinking about the next mission, the next problem to solve. Jinwoo checked his special devices. Dong-hyuk ran new calculations. Sungmin prepared for the next infiltration. Yuna monitored their biological systems. Jiwoo looked at the screens. One mission complete, thousands more waiting. The universe was big. Humans were curious, and no defense system was truly unbreakable. The meeting room was silent. Representatives from 100 different alien species sat around a massive circular table. Holographic screens showed the details of the Keros 9 mission. Most looked confused. Some looked scared. A human team of 5 cadets had done what nobody else could do. Commander Roberts stood at the center of the room. His uniform was simple. No fancy decorations, no special medals, just plain military clothing. "Humans are different," he said simply. The Centauri representative spoke first. Her blue skin changed colors when she was nervous. Right now, she was very nervous. "How?" she asked. "How did 5 young cadets break a defense system that stopped hundreds of professional armies?" Juwu sat quietly. She wasn't here to show off. She was here to explain. Donghyuk's calculations were displayed on massive screens. Complex mathematical models that showed how they had broken the Corexian defense system, not with force, but with understanding. Sungmin stood near the window. Most would look nervous in such a big meeting. He looked calm, like he was ready for the next mission. Jinwoo had brought his special devices, not as weapons, but as examples of human problem-solving. Yuna's medical reports showed something interesting. How human bodies could do things no other species could do. Adapt, change, survive. "We don't see obstacles," Juwu explained. "We see problems to solve." The Zortak's military leader looked angry. "This is impossible," he said. "No military team can do what you claim." Donghyuk showed another calculation. Precise. Perfect. Commander Roberts smiled. "Impossible is just a word humans don't understand." The holographic screens showed the entire mission. How they had entered the fortress. How they had changed the defense system from the inside. How they had solved a problem that had stopped everyone else. More alien representatives arrived, from different parts of the galaxy, all wanting to understand. How did humans do it? The answer was simple. Humans didn't follow rules. They created new ones. Most species saw war as a mathematical problem. Humans saw it as a puzzle to solve. Most species had perfect defense systems. Humans found ways to make those systems change. Most species tried to destroy their enemies. Humans tried to understand them. The meeting continued. Questions were asked. Reports were shared. But everyone understood one thing. Something had changed in the galaxy. Humans were not just another species. They were problem solvers. Outside the meeting room, the galaxy continued to spin. Millions of planets, thousands of species, but something was different. The universe had learned a new lesson. Never underestimate humans. Juwu looked at her team. No celebration, no big speeches, just a quiet understanding. One mission complete, thousands more waiting. The galaxy was big, humans were curious, and no problem was truly unsolvable.